Pledge of Allegiance.
Please join me in a moment of reflection. Let us reflect on how to best serve the students and staff of Southwest ISD. Allow us to work together well to listen and respect each other's talents and skills, and to be watchful and mindful of the responsibilities we hold as a governing body. May we rejoice in the privilege of watching our students grow into enlightened citizens of the community, and may we remain focused on the dreams and aspirations of those we serve. In your name we pray. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, the first thing we have on the agenda is we had a couple of fillers go out at Southwest High School. And if I understand it correctly, they're old-fashioned, and we have to go on and fix them anyway. Thomas, do you want to say a couple of words about that?
Yes, sir. We had 2 chillers go down during the later part of the summer last year. Chiller circuits, actually 2 compressors, one on each chiller. Sorry, and we are planning on trying to do those and get them repaired. It takes a crane and a lot of extra work in the parking lot there by the chiller yard to get those repaired. We'd like to do that during spring break to make sure that we have them up and running to their full potential when the hot weather really kicks in during the spring and summer. So we priced it out. Airstream gave us a quote. They are our chiller contract right now. So Airstream priced it for both chillers, all the parts and labor, the crane, the 3-year extended warranty on each one comes out to $145,035.46 to replace them both, and we plan on doing that during spring break.
Questions?
I move. I second.
Motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carried. All right, something I forgot, recognitions.
Well, yes, sir. I know this past Sunday, if you had the opportunity to have the Academy Awards, and so prior to that, the public relations throughout the state of Texas for ISD had their annual convention where there were also opportunity to give awards and accolades. And so I'd like to ask Ms. Janice Hernandez, since we had the opportunity today and it's been recently happened, she's going to go through that and inform our guests and our board of trustees about the awards they received this year.
Thank you, Dr. Verstoff, members of the board. First, I'd like to thank all of you for your support in our department, and because of your support, we're able to properly highlight the district and the students and their successes through our communications. Most recently, our communications team was recognized by the Texas School Public Relations Association, so I'd like to take a few minutes to recognize the team. We had 2 presenters at the conference and at an advanced level. So we had Roger Campos presenting at a roundtable session for Adobe, and we had Ruben Moreno presenting for our drone videos and our drone. So these were advanced level presentations. And then for some of our awards that we submitted for the last school year, we received 4 gold, 5 silver, and 4 bronze awards. Wow. Some of those included our Southwest Report, our Southwest Spotlight. We also had our Monday Message, our We Are Southwest publication. We had our Ace Race logo and our SWISD TV logo also submitted and won awards. We also had our Legacy trailer. That was the legacy promotion video that we did to promote the high school. That also won some awards as well. So again, I wanted to kind of call up the team, and when I call your name, please stand up. A lot of you know them. A lot of them work behind the scenes. Half of the team does AV work, so they're going to campuses and fixing projectors, but when it comes down to actually doing the segments, we need everybody. We have multiple cameras, we have prompters, we have directors, so it becomes a full team production. So as I call your name, please stand. Roger Campos. Ruben Moreno. Selena Madrigal. Jesse Lopez was not able to be here, but he's also part of our team and handles the director part. We have Matt Campos, who handles our teleprompter. Roy Renteria, who handles our camera work in the studio. And we also have our clerk, Mary Aldaba, who was unable to be here as well. So I wanted to again to thank everybody. Thank you guys
They've done
very
an
much.
excellent job. I'll tell you, that is really improved in the last few years.
Thank you.
Excellent job.
Thank you, guys.
I know Janice didn't do it, but we also want to recognize.
Yes.
Our director of
Absolutely.
communications, Janice Fernandez. As well as, Jesse's working with the group now, they just tell them what to do. Executive director of community outreach, and so they're doing a great job of getting messaging and really have brought the love of video to Southwest ISD more so than you ever have. So it's great.
Absolutely.
Congratulations to all of you. Great job.
Y'all gonna be moving to Hollywood? Probably like their salaries, wouldn't you? Y'all have anything else on recognitions?
No, sir.
All right, the next thing we need is to talk about E-rate 21.
Yes, sir. I'm gonna have Mr. Martinez is gonna come up and present, release an RFP, 1718 telecommunications. He's gonna go over that in the awards.
Hello, good afternoon.
Joe.
So, in November, we brought to the board the E-rate process. And so after approval of that, we submitted RFPs for telecom and internal connections. This is a telecom bid. So RFPs were issued to 34 vendors, received proposals from 2 vendors. The district staff examined the bids and found that the recommended vendor offers a fair and suitable solution for the telecom projects. Upon approval, contracts will be initiated and the next E-rate application can then start. So telecom services such as internet access and wide area network connections are the ones that are inside this RFP. So connecting the campuses together. If funded, Southwest is eligible for 90% of most of the services. Some of the services now are beginning to be phased out a little at a time. So with this year, it's only 10% that the E-rate will cover for any voice services such as long distance or regular analog services. The recommended vendor is AT&T. Let's see, the annual cost of the district before reimbursement would be $177,474.80. Estimated reimbursement would be $88,443.48, leaving out of pocket for us of $89,031 for the year for those services. So the district staff is recommending that the board approve AT&T as the awarded vendor for RFP 17-18-005, E-rate 21 telecom project.
Questions?
I move. Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carried.
Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. All right, the next thing is the additional pay rate that we had talked about. Board members, need a motion.
I move.
I have a second.
I second.
Motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carried. Moving down to items of information, student enrollment.
Yes, sir. Did you want to get lunch or?
Yes, we'll get lunch now.
Do y'all want to get lunch now, or do you want to?
Or go into the closed doors. Yeah, do closed doors first, at the end.
I'm game for anything.
If you want to get lunch, we go
Tell
to
me.
executive session, we'll come back out.
Yeah.
All right, let's do it.
Executive session.
You go into executive
No, we're
session
gonna
first?
pick up lunch on the way out.
All right. Under Texas Government Code 551.001-551, we go into executive session. All right, we're back into regular session. It's 12:15. Jesse, and I'm sorry that I cut you off 2 times.
Not a problem, sir.
What is after pre-delay? Jesse Garcia is going to talk to us about some alternative opportunities that are available to students in the greater San Antonio and in our local area, and about what that impact is on Southwest ISD, and Superintendent in general. So we want to provide data to the board and some information, things we're looking at, and some things that we're doing to mitigate some of that.
So like Dr. Vership said, there's students who leave our school system every year. Unfortunately, you know, they go to other institutions. Some of them are regular public institutions, some of the alternate institutions who are out there. And so I wanted to share some of that information with you, just kind of paint a picture. As Omar's group and his office has done, they've kind of came up with a better system for us keeping track of where exactly those kids are going when they leave us. In years past, we had pretty good information about the kids when they were coming back to us from other institutions we knew. When they were leaving with us, leaving from our school systems, that information also wasn't very reliable in some cases. And then there's a whole set of information that was put out there with the state. So we wanted to see by what the state puts out and what we're now keeping track of, you know, how accurate is that information and what picture does it really show for us. So I just have this year's information, and that's what I want to share with you. But as you can see, these are some of the other alternate institutions that a lot of our students will leave Southwest to go to. I put up there so that you can see what grade levels are available. Not every campus has a K through 12 grades available at that campus, and so that really kind of impacts where some of our kids go and don't go. The two that are highlighted up there are the two where we see most of our kids going. The other two that you see kind of highlighted a little bit lighter colors are two other systems that are really kind of pulling some kids away from us as well too. And so that's based on some historic data that we've seen that TEA had, and so that's kind of where we pulled those schools from. And then if you look at where in the city those two places fall, those black stars that kind of run along the bottom there and over to our northwest side represent those two systems that are really kind of pulling away a lot of our students. And then you can see the yellow stars represent the other two systems that are pulling some of our students as well. Not as many, but still some of our students as well too in greater numbers, as is the case with those in those black stars. So
The slide that you just had before that, do we have that information? Did you?
I'll share it with y'all, ma'am. I'll just make sure you get y'all the PowerPoint. That way you can see all of the information on there. And so again, this is just kind of where everyone's located. You can see kind of where they are in relation to us. And so what I started doing was, as these families were leaving our system, was I just started calling every family one at a time, just to talk to them and find out, why is it that you made this decision to leave our school system? And so these are some of the answers that we got. Of course, families move away. We had some of these campuses that have popped up across the street from some of these families, and they've had some employment opportunities. So they've decided to keep their kids there with them because they're now working at these new buildings that are going up. There were a few of them out there who said, hey, look, we had a really bad experience at this campus or that campus, and you know, we just wanted to try something else. A lot of the families were kind of promised this kind of innovative approach to some things, and they were kind of ready to start something new, to try something different. And you know, there are some incentives that these other alternative institutions use to kind of bring some people in. They do heavily recruit in a lot of places that we don't normally need to. As Janice mentioned, we just came back from the TSPRA conference, and there were many sessions there that were available on how school districts are now having to market themselves in a time when we haven't had to do that. And so we've kind of just depended on, we open our doors, they show up, they stay here, and we weren't really having to deal with the fact that we're having to say, we are this ISD, and this is what we have to offer, and this is why you should stay here. So in speaking to the parents, I got some information. Not all of them want to talk. Some of them gave us the, hey, it's not you, it's me. You know, and so, hey, you know, it's not your fault, it's my fault. You know, we wanted something different. You know, we really liked you, Mr. Garcia, and we really liked this school, but hey, you know, there's a brand new school across the street from me, and it's free, and we want to go check it out, you know. And so there was a variety of different reasons why these kids were leaving us. And as I looked at thus far this year with the records that we're keeping, who's leaving and where they're leaving from, what grade level, you'll see our pre-K, K1. If you really have to look at the numbers, that's where we're losing those kids.
Yeah.
Fifth grade is a big transition piece, and if you think about those kids who are leaving us in fifth grade, some of those alternate campuses that are out there don't have a fifth grade necessarily, but they have a sixth grade. So these were kids who left us at the beginning of the year to start sixth grade over at those campuses. So we were mostly hit right now in fifth grade, first grade, and kinder as of the information that we have now, and those are the places that impacted us the most.
We've lost 94 kids.
Not just in how we're keeping track of the data this year. Yes, sir, this year.
But we're at
is-
13.
We probably shared more on a lever basis, meaning they're swapping from like John Jay High School to Southwest High School.
Yeah,
Right.
that's what I was getting at. Our enrollment, how far off is it
Let me show you the, 2 more slides, sir, here in a minute, and I'll show you where they're at. But then, so if we want to know where exactly they're leaving from, the 3 campuses that are impacted the most are Spicewood Park, Sun Valley, and Hidden Cove. And some of the recruiting techniques are, you know, you see these folks go set up shop and provide their, as enrollment is happening at the apartment complexes, there's a table outside for the parents to come in and sign up for them. They're at every community event to go do recruiting. I was at Chuck E. Cheese, and they were at Chuck E. Cheese and Peter Piper. And so some of these institutions are going to kind of great lengths to make sure that they're accessing parents and families where they wind up seeing them the most. And so you think of Spicewood, and there's not a new facility right across the street from it, but there's a giant apartment complex that just went up where there's a lot of heavy recruiting that goes on. And we have a plan to kind of mitigate that as well too. But that's where you see some of the places where we're losing some of the most kids. And as our kids get older, there's some options there at the middle school, and you can see the high school not having as much impact. But I also went back and looked at the historical data, was what you were asking about, Mr. Frazier.
Just
Yes,
real
ma'am.
quick, where are those Hidden Cove kids? Like the majority, where did they go?
Right across the street to the new facility that just came up.
Where is that compared to the new, I don't even know where the new facility is, but is it close to Indian Creek?
It's across the street from Indian Creek.
And nobody from Indian Creek went over there?
No one from Indian Creek. As of now, from our records, that's what they show right now. We didn't lose those kids there.
Yeah.
So Jesse, this is just data on these kids have left and gone to the schools that you showed on
Yes,
the other slide.
this
okay?
year.
Okay.
Yes, just this year. Now, I did go back and look at the historical data, and we pulled all of the kids who came to us from these other institutions. And as you can see, in kinder through 5th grade, we've had those many kids come back, 6th through 8th, 9th through 12. So we've got.
When you say those many, I can't see.
And so it's 43 kids from kinder through 5th grade. It's 163 kids from 6th through 8th grade that are coming back. And of course, that's over a almost 10-year period there.
Oh.
And then from 9 through 12, we have about 154 kids who have come back to us. And so we have kids who leave, and then we've got this influx of kids who come back. And if we look at our enrollment data, Mr. Frazier, right now, and I'm sure Brandon would agree, we're not losing a bunch of kids, we're not gaining a bunch of kids, we're just kind of flatlined these last couple of years, and we're kind of steady in where we've been. And that's kind of what the data shows, where some kids are leaving, some kids are coming back. From all of the kids we lose each year, it seems about 50% of them go to other ISDs, and 50% of them go to these alternate institutions that they can get these same opportunities at.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
So we're actually losing enrollment K-5. We're not losing enrollment in our secondary schools. Those numbers are actually going. So that number, while we're increasing there, we are seeing a decline in K-1, 2 in our middle schools, our elementary schools. So while we have flatlined across the board, we really have because if you look back to his data where not a lot of places offer that 9 through 12 experience.
Yes.
So they leave and then they come back. But we are seeing a decline in enrollment in our elementary schools, which is probably, in my best guess of the city of San Antonio, that's probably where everybody's seeing their biggest.
Across the board? Across
the
all
city
the
of San
elementary
Antonio.
schools? Yeah.
I can tell you in the neighboring
Yeah.
ISD to us, that enrollment has changed from, according to the Reward report yesterday, from 10,000 3 or 4 years ago to 9,100 today.
North side?
No,
The other direction,
Oh.
towards San Antonio, South San.
Oh,
So-
South Side.
There are other choices. There's neighborhoods that are getting more mature and less young students.
As children.
Specifically, and to Dr. Fay's point, and to our concern, it's the early grades that we're seeing the biggest decline. If that trajectory continues, then we would lose FTEs, teacher FTEs based on the decline in student enrollment. I seem to recall from snapshot date last year to snapshot date this year, I think we had 15 more students or 15 less students from year to year. This is the first real year that it's been stagnant. We've always had some form of growth from year to year. And we did have 150 more 9th through 12th graders this year than we did last year. But we had about 143 or 150 less elementary K through 5 students.
Right.
So our enrollment has basically stayed the same from one year to the next without growing for the first time. And there's a story to tell about the kids who come back from these systems, because we know some of them, and they're doing exceptionally well in their school, and they come back because of all the vast opportunities that they have to participate into school experience. And I I don't think this issue's gonna go away. It's not gonna go away in Bear County, and it's not gonna go away in Texas. So I think that's where Jesse's gonna probably go, and, so, this is what it looks like, so we know the what, now what.
I have a question real quick. Someone told me that the IDEA requires their teachers to go door to door. Is that true?
Probably.
They can do whatever they can ask whatever they want, yeah.
Mm-hmm. They like fan them into the neighborhoods, and there's an expectation that they're gonna knock on so many doors and sell their charter school. So do we know if that has happened or is happening in our community at all? Do we have any idea?
I don't know unless someone knows for sure that has seen it. I haven't.
So, after an incident last year at Indian Creek, they did a big push. They had a tent out in front of that, and then they took the following streets that were close to it, and by that time, they only had a few staff members, and they did go door to door. And the only reason I know is that a parent called me in regards to, are we changing schools? And I'm like, no, you are not changing schools.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the only reason.
So it does happen, and it has happened in our community.
And they, like I said, they do a lot of very creative things with their recruiting and how they do that, and all throughout the city. But especially in our apartment complexes, we're seeing
Wow.
it more.
Yeah, it's very concentrated, it's quick, it's easy.
They know the families are there, they ask for permission, they set up outside, they go sign up for their apartment, at the same time they can see those folks that are out there as well too. So then that kind of leads us to, we've got some of these kids leaving, we've got kids coming back. In a lot of cases when the kids are coming back, it's because they don't offer that same grade level there. It stops at X grade and those kids have to come back. In some cases, they don't provide certain services. They don't provide dyslexia services. They don't necessarily provide bilingual services. They don't provide those special ed services. They don't put up with a lot of discipline. And so a lot of these kids wind up coming back to our system. And so it's kind of this influx that we have, and like Dr. Verstov said, it's not going away, but at the same time, we've kind of come to the understanding that we've got to get better at kind of marketing our district out there to the community, and not so much just for those kids that we're afraid that are going to leave, but also for all of the families who are here to get a better idea of what it is that we do offer, how to highlight these things that we're offering, and that's why Janice and our team and everything that they've been doing is really spot on about what we have to do with that. And then just really trying to build a sense of pride in our community to get folks to really understand when you come to Southwest, it's not just, you're just not sending your kids to school. It's an experience that they're going to have here in this family environment, of which you're probably not going to get in very many other places. And we want them to understand that we have their best interest in mind, not just now while they're here, when they leave here, as well as their interests as they're going through the system. So as part of that, I'm sure you've seen this around. I know we had it up a couple different places, and you'll see more signage that's going up. We got our teachers and their staff, their shirts, and we really have used this as a campaign that Roger had come up with a few years ago to really kind of build our piece around this. And so we're trying to market our brand out there. I'm working with a lot of the local businesses to I want to get to the point where I can have these kind of community business meetings where I bring these folks in and we can talk about what are some of the issues and how we can connect and help each other. You all were here for the clergy meeting. We're fixing to have another one here pretty quick where we're going to connect them with the resources and things that we're having. We're working with the university health system for different plans that we're trying to do. UIW has been a great partner with us as well. And it's really trying to get, and I know that we have the usuals, your Toyota and Joris and the other folks who have helped us for many, many years. But it's really trying to get all of these folks to kind of talk to one another so that we can see how we're all doing the work here at Southwest, besides what we just do at the schools and the classrooms, to get the community to understand, hey, this is really an us mentality and bringing everyone together. This last weekend, Divine Providence down the street, which is right across the street from Indian Creek, which is right next to one of those new facilities, they had a 5K. We got all of our goodies in their bags, and they passed them out that morning at the race, and we had all of our families there, and they're all Southwest parents. And so it's really important to kind of get ourselves into some of these other places that we don't necessarily do a lot of right now, so that everybody can kind of see that that's what we're working towards. So we've got mail outs going out. Everyone who's left us has gotten a mail out from us, has gotten a phone call from me, probably more than once if they didn't want to talk the first time. And we've sent out mail outs to all of our community highlighting the different programs that we have, and you've probably seen some of these if you live here. Janice has done a great job about getting these out to our new residents. So we're targeting new residents as they come in for elementary, for secondary, and really showing them here are some of the opportunities that are available. If you've seen our snippets before here, and I don't know if we have any volume for that, but we've had these that are going out, and I think, Janice, how many do we have now? We have two right now.
Recorded 4, so we'll release the next 2
That's cute.
Jesse,
Yes, ma'am.
we know they're coming back for high school because we offer lots of stuff.
Right.
But as a parent,
I was just a button from the
okay,
computer.
as a parent, and I mean, I don't have any little ones anymore, but I have nieces and nephews, so my sisters, you know, I share their concerns. One of the main things I think is the image that they have of an 800 kid elementary school, and they're sending their 4-year-old there. And so they're looking for a smaller environment, what they consider maybe a safer environment. The label private school it brings some sort, oh, my child goes to private school, whatever. What are we doing in our elementary schools that's gonna make me as a parent think, you know what, I'm gonna send them to Sun Valley instead of whatever, Harmony School? Because we've already sold our high school, we're selling our junior high, but I don't know that we're selling elementary school. I don't think we are. But I may be out of the loop and I don't see it.
So I can probably add to that conversation, do you mind? Is that we have a task force that we put together on looking, matter of fact, Richard's been on a couple of the visits that we've had to the North Dallas area in looking at taking some of our inside the loop 410 as kind of projects for turning our elementary schools into choice schools. One of them would be like a fine arts academy at an elementary campus, right? One of them may be a STEM academy, so that there's a content focus around the elementaries. The other thing that we have had some discussion about is allowing some choice within our own borders of where kids go to school, because we do have some requests. I don't want my child to go to X campus, and so there's been conversation, no decisions made yet about allowing that to happen, because if they don't go to us, they go somewhere else.
Yeah.
So there is a task force that's being led by Tanya Crisp and Tracy Myers, actually. Jennifer and Delila have both worked in systems where there was a lot of choice. And so there's been Richard, I think Peter's been on some of the visits with us, Peter Wagner, to send teams around to just right now currently to plant seeds about what should we be looking to do differently, not at our high schools and secondary campuses as much as maybe what do we change at our elementary and even some of our middle schools.
Right.
So kind of by way of just the nature of what's happened in our system, we could probably say that Sky Harbor right now is a fine arts campus. And so is McNair, right? Like they have 400 kids in the band. So by natural activity happening, we've created some really good programming within those feeder patterns. And so we're looking, we have a task force that's currently investigating that, so we can actually move on some of those things. We don't feel like we're quite ready yet to do that. But that is something that we're looking at and trying to move with the help of program people, because it does impact what happens in classrooms when we do that. So
I really am interested in, of course, the fine arts. I love the fine arts. It'd be awesome to have a school where you could send your kid that really enjoys that. And of course, you'd have to take them yourself. That's one of the obstacles in our community. But the language thing too, I think it's really worth looking into having one of our elementary schools be I want my kid to be bilingual. I want him to go learn Spanish there. Because I really think we're missing the population of parents that want their children to speak Spanish. I have a little niece, Emily, she's 4. She is already practicing Spanish. She don't know what she's saying, but she just uses the accent and she thinks she's speaking Spanish. But she really can't get that at Elm Creek. Because once the bilingual class fills up, which it always does, they're not going to let her in, right? So if we had some kind of a thing, like I don't know what you'd call it, a language academy or whatever, but the parents would be, we have to have selling points to get over the big populations that we have in our elementary schools.
and that is one of the ideas that's on the table right now. We have a STEM kind of idea, we have a dual language wall-to-wall campus idea, and then we have a fine arts kind of idea, right?
Those are great.
And so we just don't think that we're ready to move on that
Yeah.
quite yet.
No,
Because that takes time and it takes a shift in mindset around the work.
Yeah.
And a shift in mindset about people buying into that, because it is so new to us.
Yeah.
But not new to everybody else.
And that being said, I still think it's important to have the fine arts in every elementary school. Because just because you don't go to Sky Harbor doesn't mean you shouldn't
You don't have
participate in fine arts
That's a
or
great point.
language or whatever. But I always tell the parents when they ask me about the elementary schools, because I sort of know what's going on in there, and I know we have loving staff and all that kind of stuff, but it is a struggle when you're sending your 4 and 5-year-old. Do you want to send them to this 800 kid school, or do you want to send them to a smaller school?
Right.
You know, so.
And Jesse, I wanted to just make a very quick comment. When you drive by the Harmony School, they have these banners hanging from their gates, and the banners have all the programs that they have. And I, drive, for the last several years, I'm like, we have all that stuff here.
Right.
But it looks very impressive for them, because it looks like they're doing all these things, and they're advertising that.
Right.
They're letting the community, anyone that drives by can see they have all this stuff. I'm like, oh, we have all that. So I don't know if that would be something we might want to explore. They do up to middle school. They just do middle school. I don't think they were trying to do high school. I don't know if that got off the ground or not. But especially I think we do a good job with that at the high school, maybe not so much at the middle schools. Everything that's available to our kids.
I wanted to comment something. I know that we're doing all these great things and we're advertising, we're trying to,
Right.
be up to par with what the other schools are so that our students will not transfer. But I want us to focus on customer service at our schools.
Yeah.
The front desks are so important, and I get so many complaints on this particular issue all the time. It's very important that we continue that customer service, just focus, so that our parents will feel welcome at the schools and won't turn away and say, oh, they won't even look at me. I've been there half an hour and no one has asked me. Do I need anything, So that's a very
Pete-
important point too.
Peter was working on something a few years ago about, and I could be all wet on this, it might be older kids, but I thought it was trying to bring some of the elementary schools together and have some kind of competitiveness through their PE classes. And I know he was sitting and working on this. I don't know what come of it. And it possibly could have been older kids, but I thought it was elementary.
No, it was
It
younger
was
kids.
elementary, and it was.
Like a field day?
An intramural opportunity.
Right.
Students were involved, depending on what season was in at the time, if it was basketball, track, or.
Soccer.
Ooh, that would be.
How did that go?
So I think we can bring him back and kind of get a status update, and I do recall the presentation. And I want to offer just kind of a caution, or a comment about, I think this is one of those issues we really need to take our time to really kind of have some dialogue about. There's an alternative camp that says, you know what, don't get away from your neighborhood schools, because there's nothing more
Right.
important to a society and a culture than your neighborhood school.
Yeah.
Sure.
Sometimes if we jump, knee-jerk reaction, and believe me, I'm really good at that, and we start doing thematic opportunity, then it's like the focus of all that goes there. When, like I've heard all of you say, we offer all these things at all of our elementary.
Let's
One thing
advertise.
we don't have that I think the other system has is a multi-million-dollar communication plan. But we can do certain things like you just mentioned. Take all of the things we do, put them on banners and get them out there, let our public know. And I think we're making a lot of headway in that area. I know we've talked about this as superintendents, and I know I've talked about it with senior staff that, knee-jerk, and if we start doing some things that we have, and if we start opening up our borders, we start having this cannibalism thing going on, that we start turning on each other. There's one thing that I think the alternative system would want is that. We know we service our kids in our community to the fullest extent. Can we do a better job? Absolutely. And are we perfect? Absolutely not. But I think that kids who come into our system because of their experience with really great quality of lives, and they make the right decisions. And we need to keep going down that road and be open-minded to new ideas, new opportunities, and maybe have our neighborhood schools and just say, you know what, if you want to focus, let's highlight your focus. And
Yeah.
if it's dual language, let's highlight that here. And just keep our in-district transfer, maybe enhance enhance it, but we already have it.
Yeah,
in district.
just in
We can go
district,
around.
right.
But I think it's kind of closed off, pretty much, but maybe we can, modify it, it's more inviting, just like we want our front offices to be more inviting and warm and friendly and
Yes.
accepting and welcoming. So there's some things to do, I just want us to have a lot of conversation around it before we make determinations.
Yeah, absolutely. And two, I think we're really, have a lot on our plate with the changes we're making to our high school, and then
There's that too.
and we're looking at our secondaries coming up next, and gotta get past that then, because traditionally our elementaries have been our really strong points, right? So,
Still are today.
yes, absolutely.
And so we're doing, you know, you've seen the signage, you've seen the videos, we've done a great job, and that stuff's not going to stop. We're going to get parents to come give us some testimonials, more student testimonials, the community to give us some testimonials, because the video piece really has an impact.
Yeah, it's very
Not just
visual.
with the kids, it's very visual, and it's very, wow, here's the message, and I got it. You know, the signage helps as well, too, and I can tell you, probably one of the things that's the greatest testament, we do have families who have come back from those places, and I did have a chance to speak to one particular mom who spoke nothing but Spanish, and she said by far and away the opportunity that her kids were getting here at Southwest, she was almost apologetic, but by far and away the opportunities that her kids were getting here at Southwest to grow and develop was so much better than what she got going across the street to this other place. And she just thought that that would be a better opportunity. Of course, it was more convenient for her, and there was a lot of pros for her. But she was almost apologetic in her kind of like, well, you know, we only lasted there X number of time, and then we came back here because we're smart enough to know that this is really where our kids were getting the best learning. Joanne's got a great, the literacy program at the elementary has really kind of taken off. And it's really something that we can really tout as a district, and these kids are picking up and they're reading and they're doing really well, and it's come, it's a great compliment to the work of her and her team. And the parents are aware of that because they had siblings who went through that and struggled a little bit, but now they see that progress.
Change.
And they're like, you know what? It's better to bring them over here than to have them across the street. So we just wanted you to be informed of that. We're really working hard with the community. It's kind of a multifaceted process. You know, little things like those apartment complexes, we have a plan to kind of get some of our literature in there as well too every time there's a new resident, although we can't be there and recruit, you know, every single time somebody comes and signs up for an apartment. But we're trying to make sure that we get all of our new residents to know that this is an opportunity here. Pre-K for SA, when those kids finish the pre-K program, they basically have an opportunity to recruit. Schools come and set up their tables there, and those parents get to talk to all of those recruiters before making a decision on where they want to take their child to kindergarten. Well, we're at that table now, and we hadn't been in the past, and we're there with those kids now. And so we're finding all of these other places where kind of to go. I'm not saying that we're going to be able to stop it, and these kids are going to wind up leaving us at some point, but we're definitely trying to mitigate some of these areas where that we know that some of this is happening, while still trying to get our brand and our marketing plan out there and really get our message out so that the community knows to stay here.
Do we have welcome packets or whatever at the apartments?
We don't,
It'd
but
be
we're
nice
working
if
on
we
some
had-
literature that the
Not just
apartment
there,
complexes
but
are
the
included.
model home places where they sell the homes and
We-
stuff. Something that we just say, this is the school district, welcome, blah,
Right.
blah, blah.
And so we did that with the postcards to some sense, getting it out to our new residents,
No, but I
but
mean like something in there.
with the apartment
sticker,
complexes, we are gonna have a
magnet.
booklet basically that they get that highlights Southwest. And then, yes, sir, I got you.
And a magnet.
And something else, yes, and we'll definitely do that, so. But that,
3 times in one day.
that's 4, sir, I'll count it as 4. And that's all I have. Thank you guys very much.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
All right, next thing on the agenda is bond issue, bond project.
Bond projects. We'll jump to bond projects. We'll go ahead and do it.
Okay.
So, the.
Didn't have my glasses on, sorry.
Okay. We have an internal bond committee that's made up of several members within the division. And we've started a list and kind of had our first meeting with Growth and Planning on looking at a future bond. And part of that was working with Sanco and Andrew and Mark and figuring out looking at our trends, looking at our property values, looking at our enrollment, what would be a good number, what would be affordable without raising taxes. And so we know we did the TRE, so we have to keep that in mind that we did swap pennies. And so as we're watching that, we have to make sure that the debt that we took on previously, especially with the 2012, that if we took on more debt, that we could actually make our payment and not default, or make sure that we could tell the voters, we're gonna do these projects at this price and we won't have to raise taxes. So meeting with Mark and Andrew, and we've met about 2 times now, and we're gonna meet again with them. The number that we're looking at is around $60 million is what we could add on, in the future as a potential debt that would not cause our tax rate to increase. There is a caveat to it, because like I said at the beginning, it's all about watching your property value growth, which is the only way that we gain revenue, and it's also watching your enrollment, your ADA. So, as our property values have grown over the years, that's really helped us, and as our enrollment has grown over the years, that's really helped us, because it's the only 2 ways we gain revenue on both sides, the M&O and the INS. Just piggyback on the presentation you just saw right there, we're looking at enrollment now, where we're sitting at a kind of a stagnant projection. We don't know for sure where we're going to go in the future, whether that's going to continue to maybe go down, or what we really also, I know that he didn't, we have the charter issue, the other institutions, but we also have I would say, a issue with new home construction in our district. We need some new development, and new development will bring families, young families with children in our schools, and so that's something else we have to keep our eye on. As we have certain areas that are saying, yes, we're going to develop, but like Verano Parkway, right? We've been having, how long we've been listening to that story. And so, correct. So, that being said, those are all things that we have to continue to watch, because as those come in, also when new houses bring property value, new houses bring students. And so, right now, as we're looking at it, $40 million is really, based on our enrollment and watching it, is where Andrew and Mark are really confident we would be okay. $60 million, if we stayed exactly the same right now in property value and enrollment,
Okay.
we could do 60. But if we see a slight decline in either one of those, property values or in enrollment, that could cause us to possibly not be able to afford the whole 60. So, that being said, is when you do a bond issue, let's say we did a bond and everybody approved it and we're going with it, we don't have to issue those bonds. We wait and see, and we play it out and say, let's say we know we can afford 40.
We'll do that.
We sell the 40, we do our projects that we want to do up front, and then we wait a little longer to see our trend, because we can go as long as we want before we sell those bonds.
Okay.
But the $60 million mark is really something that, and just looking at the projects and the needs of the district, is kind of where we would want to take a look at if we possibly did the next one.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, ma'am.
It's sort of on topic, but Lucky Ranch, they have Southwest and Medina Valley.
Correct.
John just bought a house in Lucky Ranch. When they bought the house, the people there at Lucky Ranch are telling the people that are buying the homes that it's all going to be Medina Valley. Is that?
That is not true.
Yeah, well, because they're saying that if you're in the Southwest School District now, if you buy a home in our area, that it's going to be Medina Valley eventually.
The only way that is going to happen is Medina Valley opens their borders to our students, like all the other districts that are doing open enrollment.
No, but they're saying that they're going to that the area is going to be
Boundaries.
redistricted. I mean, that's how they're selling the.
No.
Medina Valley tried to do a land swap with us for that property and tried to give us road frontage on Highway 90, and we chose not to,
Okay,
so we
so
would
that is not.
keep those
That's not
300
true.
I
homes.
actually had a conversation with Mr. Walbrock last week, inquiring, they told me we weren't interested in coming to the table, we've already been there.
Correct.
Who is that?
Represented in the past. He's the superintendent of Medina Valley.
Okay.
And so there was an initial inquiry, I think I explained that, we kind of answered that question, and
Okay.
we're going to stay with our property boundaries as they are.
Okay.
And he was very accepting and understood.
Because the issue they're facing there is they're building a school in there.
Right. No,
And
it's right
so
across the
They
street.
want to make sure they fill that school up, and they want it to be a neighborhood school, and so there is an issue that half of that neighborhood's going to be Medina Valley.
But we don't have plans of switching
No,
But I
property.
think,
we're not
I
gonna
know
give
what
up
he's
our
trying to
property
say,
value.
that if Medina wants, they can open enrollment.
Open
No,
enrollment.
I know about open enrollment,
It's
but
currently
they're,
that street where the school.
they're
new
saying
school
So
is
those
built.
kids
boundaries
could
are
go.
gonna switch.
That's in Medina Valley.
That is Medina Valley.
So what they want is they want our students,
Yeah.
they could get our students, but they want our property value too.
right.
So we don't want to give them both, because that's,
Not all of them,
there's
no.
no,
This
there's no,
would belong to them, just like In Big Country, there's a line that divides us from North Side. I mean, it's right
Pew
there.
Road.
Correct.
Okay, I just wanted to ask.
There's
because
approximately
that's what they
300 homes still to be built
Built.
in Lucky Ranch that belong to Southwest ISD.
But if they do open enrollment and they get our kids, then they get that ADA.
They get the ADA, but they do not get the property value
Right.
of those neighborhoods.
Right.
So
Okay.
that's
That
still
can't be
revenue.
decided without our approval, is
No,
that
they
correct?
can't, they can't.
Isn't
Yeah,
it
they
correct?
can do it. They can do it. They can have open enrollment
Yeah,
Oh, open enrollment.
without us.
Open
So
enrollment,
giving
I'm
them over our,
talking about.
yeah,
Yeah.
right.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, no.
I'm
Thank
talking
you.
about the transfer.
Yes, sir. Time.
Thomas,
So-
are you on bonds?
Yeah, we're still on bond, sir, so just to move forward, so we're looking to make sure that we don't raise taxes, so we stay at the $1.47.3, and we would look at doing around 60 million in the future.
Okay.
And so, just to piggyback on some of the needs, and I know Thomas is kind of going to go through this, and then, we have aging needs, evolving needs, and growth needs, and I'll just say that, and I'll let Thomas kind of talk about some of the projects.
And we're going to come back in the future to really go and define this. Right now, it's just to,
Correct.
what was everyone about?
We've also had our initial meeting with Growth and Planning Committee, just to kind of go through what the expectations. In fact, we had that meeting prior to talking to Mark and Andrew, so we didn't have the actual numbers at the time. The one, I guess I'm going to say the main item that would be in the next bond, because of the fact that City of San Antonio has committed $4 million to the project, is the Southwest ISD natatorium, which we're planning on building there next to McAuliffe on the property that we have. That would be a injunction construction with the City of San Antonio, but we would be donating the property and we would be running the facility. That was kind of the game plan we had with the city.
We would own it, we would run it, we would open it up to the city when the times that Southwest
Non-school
ISD
time, yeah.
students weren't using it.
So our estimation right now, based on what we've seen from Northeast and some of the other districts that are building natatoriums at this time, we're estimating around 17 million, so we have 15 to 18 there. That's based on, Northeast is doing a renovation of one of their natatoriums, so it's not a complete redo, but we're going to have to build parking lots and bring utilities and things, so we're anticipating a little bit higher number than what they've got. Our pool and the facility might not be the same size as far as because they have more schools that would use it, but that's all kind of can be done during the design phase.
And so this would be the new project that we would do with the next bond. This would really be our only new project.
So then beyond that, I know we're about to bid phase 2 of Southwest High School the week after spring break. In fact, we bid it the day of the board meeting is when bid day is. So Southwest High School renovation phase 3, there's additional things. As you know, earlier in the meeting we presented that we needed to redo those 2 chiller circuits that were there. Those chillers and some of the AC units and things that weren't able to get done during phase 2 based on our budget, we would like to put those into that phase 3 along with some other amenities and things that we need to bring to the high school to try and get the equity of what we have at Legacy. So we're estimating right now at about $15 million for that Southwest High School phase 3. It would also include the Cyber Patriot and the Criminal Justice Law Center that would be bringing in close to that Hill Academy there in the main, what we're doing here in phase 2. There's been also with the safety and school security, we're talking possibly building a connection across the second floor with a bridge where we wouldn't have to have the doors unlocked all the time in the back and have access between buildings without going outside. Then there's also some additional fine arts and athletic needs that we would have to, we'll be defining as we go through the process. Scobie Middle School is the oldest building in the district that has not had any renovation work done to it, and it was built in 1999. So in actuality, compared to some of the other districts, we're doing pretty good on that, having really nice new facilities compared to some of the other ones that are still limping things along from like 1960. So I think we're doing really good there, but Scobie is to the point where they do need an additional serving line in the cafeteria for sure. That's a major item. Probably need to do upgrades to the library, gyms, band halls, just facelift type stuff that is just it's getting to be almost 20 years old. We need to put the new lighting and everything and get it up to speed with what we have, say, at Resnick, McNair, and those other schools. Other items on there at Elm Creek and Crewald, those are both 1992 and 1995. Those RTUs that are on top of that roof and the roof are all original. We're having lots of issues, especially at Crewald, with roof leaks and when we have heavy amounts of rain. So we're looking at re-roofing and doing RTE replacement on both Elm Creek and Crewald. The same McAuliffe Middle School, we were not able to get the air handlers. Those are all original from 1990. Those were not able to get into the budget on the last renovation phase. That was the one thing we had to cut out to make sure we stayed within that $10 million mark. So the air handlers and re-roof or reworking of some of the areas on the roof would need to be done at McAuliffe Middle School. And then Indian Creek is the same. McAuliffe and Indian Creek have the same roof. It's more of a pitched cold tar roof. We're going to have to look at something there to renovate that roof. None of those 4 buildings have a warranty on their roof right now. So it normally is a 20-year warranty, and most of those have gone out in these past couple of years. So we're still maintaining them and keeping them the best we can with our maintenance staff, but they really need to be redone there. The other 2 items on here, Sky Harbor Elementary and Sun Valley Elementary, I think everybody knows that we've done work several times at both campuses to try and alleviate some of the issues that are happening from the soil movement. It's just happens to be that vein of soil runs right through there and picks up both of those schools, and it really is causing cosmetic issues. We've had an engineer go out to Sky Harbor and check everything. Everything structurally is fine. It's just cosmetically, it's really causing some issues with pushing sidewalks up out of the ground. Some of them causing tripping hazards in some areas that we're dealing with as much as we can on the maintenance side. But some of that stuff is going to have to be redone. So we do have those 2 projects that we need to probably be looking at doing some renovation work there to both of those campuses. And then the last item is additional buses to replace the fleet, and I'll let Brandon speak to
And
that.
there's also, because there's to replace some buses, because we did the bus, and then under there, I know it's not showing, but there's for technology. So this list is a little more
How
extensive.
much for technology?
Well, that's where we're gonna have to fluctuate, so it's technology, and so we're gonna have to take this list, because this is more than 60, and get with growth and planning and have meetings and talk about it and see where do we get down to the 60 and what's our priorities.
I thought, what about the roof at the high school and what we needed over there? I didn't see it here. We need,
The roof at the high school
Or-
in the old section was, actually, all of that was redone
The
in
AC
2002.
The H,
The
the
AC
HVAC.
units, yeah.
Yeah, that would be part of
That's
the
part of Phase 3 high
phase
school.
3.
was it in
just
this
wasn't-
list?
I don't know if it was on the,
Yeah, but
Okay, I didn't see it.
It
That's
was
why I was,
mechanical, electrical.
okay, it's a
Yeah.
part of
it's just
something
one
else.
package, right?
Oh, it's in that,
It's in that
Yeah,
number.
in that 15 million,
Because
okay.
we still have some things left, mechanical, electrical, and
Sure.
HVAC wise that we would hit in we're hitting some in phase 1, we're gonna hit some in phase 2, and then we would hit.
So what's gonna be the total investment at the high school if we can
Well,
pull it all off?
so right now we had.
The total.
We're originally around 3 the first phase, we're gonna be, depending on bid day, 10 to
Okay.
whatever, so 13 there, so we,
15,
yeah, so around, almost 30 million.
30. okay.
So everything you showed us there is included, or you have to eliminate some of that?
There
in
will be
order
some
to-
things that when we get into the actual details to see what pricing might, because these are all estimates, like just kind of this, us. And we have to take into account, pricing, what it's gonna cost us in 5 years compared to right now, because what we say for roof now. So
Yeah,
we gotta do a
it's
little
more
more research,
expensive.
because some things may have to be taken off, or we may be fitting within the budget. And it
Some
may
things
be,
we need to do before others because of the pricing too.
correct, and that's exactly, so there's some things that we need to really, so we really need to get, involved in more research on the natatorium, what that would cost. Also, we can kind of tell now with high school what we need, because we have projects going on, we can look at bids and see, okay, now if we add classrooms and others, as far as aesthetics, we can kind of get a ballpark.
I don't know.
Does all of this
They hadn't-
include, research that has
I'll
been done
ask.
based on what
This is
we
how
got out of that ABM thing?
That's where, yes, we use that, we've been using that for Southwest High School as we're doing it. We have that for Scobie as well.
If you go out for a bond, when will it be?
November 2018?
Of this year, okay.
We're
I have a question for Thomas. Thomas, the soil movement, the 350,000 for both schools, do you think that would be like the last thing we have to do? Or is it gonna be an ongoing?
Unfortunately, I think there's things we will do, and we will have to continue to keep redoing just because
don't-
of the way.
It's just to maintain, basically.
It's been there since 2004 at Sky Harbor.
We can't.
If we do what we need to do, we can probably extend it about that much, that life expectancy.
But it's not something that has, like, we're gonna fix and then we're done.
Right.
It's
Not-
something that's always gonna be
With
ongoing.
those soils, I'm not sure if there's ever gonna be a true
Yeah,
stop of the movement.
okay.
Because it's gonna fluctuate up and down.
Yeah, we just have to keep investing, basically.
All right, the next group is a shared table program, and I apologize for getting out of line here and letting,
Good, sir. Keep us on. We'll get,
what do you want me to do, throw rocks?
come on up. I'm gonna bring up Child Nutrition, Mr. Director Winston Gatlin. He's gonna introduce his people real quick, so. They're excited. This is exciting, so.
We saved the best for last.
Best for last.
It is.
Okay.
I think y'all know Katie Mahoney. She's the assistant director. I don't know if you know Annette
Gettinger.
Gettinger.
Yeah.
Was William Gettinger. She's a registered dietitian, and she's going to be speaking on the share table.
Hello. Okay, so I'm going to present to you about our share tables. We recently just rolled out with it, and I'm just going to highlight some key points, so it's not going to take up too much time. But the key points are, exactly what is a share table? Where does it come from? Did we make it up, or what? Where did it come from? What food items are allowed on it, and how it works, how it's operated, and what schools are currently operating the share tables. And lastly, like the benefits and feedback that we've been getting from and hearing about from the principals. So I'm really excited to share this with you actually, because we had been sitting on this talking about, in our department that we want to roll out with share tables. And sometimes I think, as people, we tend to overthink, like, oh my God, what's going to happen? Are the kids going to know what to do? And finally, we were just like, let's just do it. And we've just heard nothing but positive feedback about it. And so I'm really excited to present this to you. Okay, so what is a share table? So share tables is a designated table in the cafeteria that's visible to the students, where they can place unwanted, perishable, non-perishable food items for the consumption of another student who possibly might want that item. This is a great benefit because it allows students who may not have been full or are still hungry to grab an item off the table. It also is a great opportunity for kids who might be hungry, who don't have food maybe readily available to them, to have that snack or another food item at no cost to them. And a great benefit, it also reduces the food waste that students are throwing away. So it really helps with that. And where did the share table concept come from? I wish we were clever enough to think of it. And I think a lot of us were like, we saw this, we saw a lot of feedback from the principals addressing like, hey, there's all this food that's being wasted, what can we do with it? Teachers were taking it, putting it in their lounges. And so we kind of were like, okay, how can we kind of reuse this food and bring it back to the kids without having to, like, of course, sell it back through our line. So this really helped alleviate that issue. So basically, it was a Senate Bill 725 that passed last year, and it basically allows the school districts to distribute leftover food from the cafeteria as long as they're following state and local health codes. And so we're going to kind of talk about how we're helping them follow those health codes. So what type of food items are going to be placed on the table? So it's going to be some perishable and some non-perishable. So as you can see from this image, we have milk and then some fruit, and it has to be whole, uncut fruits. So just like apples and bananas, because the oranges that we have, they're actually cut, so they can't put those there. And then, of course, we have like our string cheese and our yogurts, and then any kind of packaged, your shelf-stable items that can be placed on that table too. And all of it has to be, can't be open. You can't have like chicken tenders on there, French fries. Okay, and so here's an example of hidden codes. We call it the no thank you table also because, a student who may not want that item, no thank you, I'll put it here. So we kind of created that name for it as well. They have 3 bins here. 2 bins are with, they put ice in it to keep everything chilled, or like the stuff, the milk, the string cheese, and the yogurt. And then we have another bin for the fruit, and then also like the packaged items can just either go in the bin or go next to it. And so it works really well. The kids we thought like we'd have to kind of train our kids to use it, and they just caught on really quickly. I was surprised. And we found that, it was eye-opening for us. The kids thought they had to take milk at breakfast, so we kind of had to retrain our kids, like, you don't have to take the milk. Because after breakfast the first week, they were just having like mountains of milk in there. But the, overall goal really is that to have no food left at the end of the day.
Yeah.
By the time lunch is over and our ladies are getting ready to leave, we want to see, we don't want to waste or throw away that food. And so it's actually working really well. So this is how it works. The student comes, maybe after they come through the line and maybe they didn't want their apple, so they're going to put it there. Or they got done eating and they didn't drink their milk or whatever they didn't finish, and they want to donate it, and they can put it on this table. And then this kid over here, this happy child over here, grabs the milk, and it's great for that consumption of the students who want something maybe either at mealtime or maybe later. We're leaving it up to the schools, the principals, to decide whether the kids can take that item and eat it in the classroom or maybe later. But we're going to leave that up to the school to decide. I think it's great, if they are allowed to have a snack, but I understand that, it could cause pests possibly. Okay, so what schools are you currently using the share tables? Currently, right now, all our elementary schools, and hopefully we want the middle schools to open this up. When we reached out to other school districts to see what they were doing, Northeast was the only one that said that they had one middle school that was going to start rolling out with it, but they had not. So I guess the concern is, their middle school kids, are they going to be horseplaying, throwing the milk around? Are they going to be abusing the food? We want it, of course, for the purpose that they're going to be consuming it. But I reached out to the principals. I sent them an email, and I asked them, hey, we have this great initiative. If you want to adopt a table into your cafeteria, please reach out to us. We're here to assist you in setting it up. So hopefully I can hear back from those principals. However, right now, the feedback that we're getting at the elementary schools is that it's going great. The principals love it. The students know what to do, and we don't have any issues thus far. Hopefully we don't. And we went to the SHAC meeting, or we presented this to the SHAC meeting last week, and we got some feedback from the middle school students that were there actually, and some parents, and they were like, when is this going to come to my school? It's like the middle school, so they're wanting it at their schools. So it's really just up to the principals to decide, if they want to adopt this into their cafeteria. And really, the last, I just want the goal is I want it to be presentable in the cafeteria. We don't want things on it. It has to be a table that's solely designated for the food. And the school has to kind of take this underneath their wing, and they can make it look beautiful. They can put a tablecloth on it and have the students really involved, like a kid shack, and making up the signage. So it can be really successful. It just depends on each school. And so here's a few images of other schools, like this is Medio Creek and Southwest Elementary down here. And this one is Miss Medio Creek's. So thank you, and if you have any questions or comments, I'd love to hear.
Well, this is the greatest thing that happened forever.
Yeah.
All the food that we've wasted for the last 100 years.
And do you see kids taking like 4 or 5 apples so they can take them home, or?
They can take them if they want to.
No, but
have I seen it? My managers have the feedback that they've given me is they're taking like maybe a couple of items, and maybe they'll take 2 or 3, and they ask me like, was there a limit? There's no limit. They can take as much as they want.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's really nice.
That's wonderful. Love it.
One other question.
Yes.
Has the Cattlemen Association complained yet?
Not yet. No.
Well, I just wanted to throw my 2 cents worth in. How am I supposed to sell my cows if you do all that? Thank you very much. It was excellent.
Thank you, Annette.
Thank you.
So Annette and Katie really.
I know it's here. It's a very nice food. Are you sure?
Thank you, Winston.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Versta.
It's really nice to see our kids don't have to throw all these things in the trash anymore.
Yep.
The opportunity to expand this out and beyond the opportunity of a sharing table into something else that we can help.
That's awesome.
Yeah, if I'd have known that, I'd have let y'all go first. What else you got there, Mr. Superintendent, sir?
Sir, Thursday, March 8th, according to Nona here, is Heroes for Health. All of our Southwest ISD elementary campuses will be participating. We're having either the fire come out or police or someone from the community, and we'll talk about healthy lifestyles and do some fitness with the students. I'll stay away. Friday, March 9th, there's a 1-hour early release. That's on our calendar. We actually have spring break, March 12th, March 15th, next week. And our next board meeting will follow the Tuesday after spring break, which is going to be March the 20th. Keep us close to Brandon's birthday.
My birthday's during spring break, sir.
And Brandon's having a birthday during spring break.
How many birthdays has he had?
Every 6 months, sir.
I was gonna say, we've had 2 or 3 cakes.
My wife's birthday, too.
He's having a party in his house and everybody.
Hey.
And that's all, one more thing, sir.
Anybody else? Well, we got pretty good on time. All right, we're adjourned at 1:10.